Good morning, everyone. I apologize if this video is a little bit blurry. I'm having a lot of trouble with my video recording apps today, so I am just trying to use my phone for a regular video. This is for today's ELA lesson. It is Wednesday, March 25th. And on Monday, I asked you to practice writing an extended racer response in preparation for our cold read test next week. Part 1 of the cold read test will take place on Monday of next week. Part 2, which is the extended racer response, will take place on Wednesday of next week. So you want to make sure you're following the directions that were included on your assignment, which means that you should have 3 full paragraphs. You also want to make sure that you're using the racer rubric, which I also included on the assignment. This racer rubric is out of 21 points. By meeting the criteria fully on the racer rubric and following the directions fully, you will receive a total of 24 points for this portion of the cold read assessment. So today's lesson, you're going to go back in to your actual writing from Monday, and you're going to assess yourself. And you're going to do that by using this key that I created here on the top of the page. Okay, so what I did was I created my model response, and I'm going to show you how to use this key to find all of the necessary information in my response. Now, if I notice that I cannot find, for example, text information, that tells me I need to go and I need to revise today. All right, so this is a way to self-check. By the time you're done, if you were able to complete all of these parts, you want to then go back to that racer rubric, which is posted as an attachment to the assignment, and you want to actually grade your response. Everyone should be aiming for at least 19 out of 21 points. Okay, and then you want to try and make it better to get the full 21 out of 21 points. So let me show you what I mean here. Here is my example, and as you can see, I broke it up into 3 paragraphs. I've had years of practice, so I know mine might seem a little bit lengthy. You can play this video as many times as you need. I also posted the final product as a resource for you to view. So let's start off here. Jackie Robinson, Justice at Last by Joffrey C. Ward and Ken Burns is a biography in the form of an expository essay. The biographers focus on Jackie Robinson joining Major League Baseball as a step towards integration during a time full of racism, segregation, and discrimination. Their specific purpose in writing this essay was to inspire and motivate others to appreciate that 2 brave individuals stood up to social injustice and changed the history of sports. This purpose was revealed through facts and supporting detailed accounts or events. I'm going to stop here. This was my intro paragraph. I noticed that I did include my title and my author. Every single one of you should have this in your intro paragraph. So if you don't, you are revising for this today. Then you want to bold it. This is a way of checking off that it's done. The next thing I included is my text information. And this is just enough to get the gist before actually answering the question. So what I chose to do is I chose to let you know what type of nonfiction was presented. It was a biography, but it took the form of an expository essay, meaning one of the general purposes was to inform or explain, okay? And then I said what the biographers, those are the authors, what they actually focused on, because it wasn't just about Jackie Robinson's life as a whole, but actually about him joining Major League Baseball and why it was a step towards integration. It was about more than him just being an amazing baseball player. Okay? Now I begin to answer my questions. So this is what I mean by my thesis statement. The specific purpose in writing was to inspire and motivate others to appreciate that 2 brave individuals stood up to social injustice and changed the history of sports. This is part of my thesis. So I go up here. I see that in my key, I want to highlight that. This is the highlight button right here. And I'm going to highlight that in yellow. Now, I had to break my thesis up into 2 sentences here for it to flow correctly. Remember, we've been doing a lot with 3-pronged thesis statements, but you don't necessarily need 3 prongs for a thesis. You just need a claim, which I do here. My claim is the answer to what the specific purpose is. And then supporting reasons. Something to support that that was actually the specific purpose. Okay, and here it was how it was revealed. It was revealed through facts and supporting detailed accounts. All right, let's move on to my body paragraph. Now remember, the directions tell you you need at least 3 pieces of evidence. That means after each piece, I need some kind of explanation to link the evidence to my claim. In the beginning of the essay, the biographers introduced the reader to the time period by providing facts about America and racism during the 1940s. Americans of all races had died for their country, yet black men were still not allowed in the major leagues. Ward N. Burns, 422. So some of you did have questions about how to cite from multiple authors. This is how you do it. The last name of the first author, the word and, the last name of the second author, and then, as always, the page number. This fact provides the necessary context for readers to grasp why Jackie Robinson joining Major League Baseball was such a big deal in history. In other words, his career was about much more than just being a star athlete. Okay, I'm going to stop here and just show you, according to my key, what I'm able to highlight. So in the beginning here, I always have some kind of transition word or phrase. I'll just bold that for you here just so that it stands out, because you should also be using those in your writing. And then what I do is I give you some context here. Okay, this is part of my answer. And I'm going to make my context green because that's what my key tells me to do. Okay, then I went on to cite my first piece of evidence. And my key told me to make my evidence red. And then just so that you can make sure you're doing this, I wanted to make sure that my MLA citation was there. We should be really used to using this now, so I'm just going to highlight that. Okay, because that's what it tells me to do in my key. Then I moved on to my explanation. Notice that my explanation was more than one sentence because I really needed to make sure that I got my point across. Okay, and I was making that purple because that's what my key tells me to do. Okay. Now I move on to my next piece of evidence. So now I just repeat this process, some context, give you the evidence, and I make sure to explain that evidence. Ward and Burns go on to provide information about a man named Branch Rickey, who was the owner of the Dodgers and the man responsible wanting to draft a black man in an all-white man's league. I'm setting you up for my evidence here. And then I cite. Rickey knew the first black player would be cursed and booed. Pitchers would throw at him, runners would spike him, even his own teammates would try and pick a fight. There's my evidence. Make sure you quote it word for word. And now, I don't need to keep putting the author's last names because I am quoting from the same text throughout. So I just put the page number. These details show the reader that Rickey needed to select someone who had more than just skill because he was trying to fight for integration in professional baseball. He knew that if a black player were to fight against the racism he would face, people would say that integration would not work. This took courage and discipline from both the owner and Jackie Robinson. Here's my explanation. Notice it took me multiple sentences there to really make sure that you understood my thinking. Oops, I made that blue. It should be purple. Apologize. Okay. In order to show the readers the integrity and discipline that Jackie Robinson needed in order to be successful in the mission, the biographers provided detailed accounts. But this is the other type of details I said that were necessary to show the author's specific purpose. So here is my context. So that's green. Many Dodgers were angry. Some signed petitions demanding to be traded, but Robinson and Rickey were determined to make their experiment work. Took this right from the text. Here's my evidence. This shows the types of discrimination and hatred that Jackie Robinson needed to endure. This explanation is short, but that's because I do follow it up with an additional piece. So let me just quickly make this purple. Furthermore, fans threatened to kill him, players tried to hurt him, yet through it all, he kept his promise to Rickey. No matter who insulted him, he never retaliated. So I just added to this piece of evidence here. I just bold my transition word. Okay, so evidence is going to be red. And this started on page 423 and went to page 424. This highlights how much discipline and self-control Jackie Robinson demonstrated in order to show that integration was a positive step towards equality. And there's the rest of my explanation. So by the time I'm done, I was able to color code all of this information. Now I move on to paragraph 3, which is simply your conclusion paragraph. So in a 5-paragraph essay, we summarize each body paragraph. In an extended racer response, you're just summarizing the 3 main points you proved in the 1 body paragraph. So first I start by providing my thesis again. Here's a transition word, overall. The author's specific purpose of this expository essay was to inspire and motivate others to appreciate that 2 brave individuals stood up to social injustice and changed the history of sports. This purpose was revealed through facts and supporting detailed accounts or events. All I did was repeat or restate my thesis. Okay, now I move on to a summary of points. First, the authors provided background facts about the time period in order to show that Jackie Robinson joining the major leagues was about more than just athletic ability. These facts also helped highlight how much courage it took Jackie Robinson and his marriage to stand up to social injustice. Okay, here's me summarizing my first point. Oh, Harley, I'm sorry. She hears another dog outside, so she's super excited. Summary of my next point. Additionally, the detailed accounts provided in the essay depict specific examples of the racism Jackie Robinson needed to face. This showcased discipline and integrity as Robinson's main character traits. Furthermore, these details showed that by not retaliating, he was actually showing more pride and taking positive steps toward equality. All right. So this was the rest of my summary points. Remember, you want me to leave knowing the main points of your answer. Okay? And then I always like to end with some kind of wrap-up statement, so I used my transition here in summary. Joffrey C. Ward and Ken Burns zoom in on the shared experiences of Robinson and Ricky in order to show that with courage and integrity, 2 people can make a difference. So this is kind of that memorable last line where I'm tying it all together. I didn't actually give you a color to make that, so you can just leave it or you can include it as part of your summary because it does just wrap up all the points that you are making here. Okay, this would score a 21 out of 21 plus the 3 points for following directions on the rubric. I've included all the necessary criteria. My information is accurate. My explanations are detailed. I have at least 3 pieces of evidence cited in my body paragraph. I summarize my points at the end. Okay, remember, you may view this video as many times as you need. You may stop the video. You may simply look at my model that I posted of this finished and highlighted in color. But your job is to do this for yours. You should be updating your copy as you go through it because you will all notice that there are some things you either forgot to include or perhaps your explanations are not detailed enough. Maybe you forgot to cite it in MLA format. Perhaps you only included 2 pieces of evidence. So you are revising your response and then you are color coding it according to the key. You will click turn in again with this assignment when you are finished today. Okay? Again, I will be on Google Hangouts all day to address your questions and clarify anything that you need to ask me about this assignment. Talk to you later.